What's up, fam? Welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. I'm your host, James Lauriello, bringing you an episode today with the 2025 Men's USATF Mountain Running runner-up, Mr. Mason Copey. Super fun episode, just getting caught up with Mason about a week removed from his second place finish at the 2025 Sunapee Scramble. Really fun little conversation. It's been fun to see Mason develop over the last few years and just become the athlete that he is today. Big admirer of this guy, and hope you guys enjoy this one. It's a great episode. So without further ado, none other than just a quick one with Mr. Mason Copey. Mason Copey, welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. How are you, buddy?
Hello. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on again.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to be having this conversation. I kind of figured we would be. It made sense. I'm just like so excited for you that you, we obviously talked before this, and your training, like you've been working your butt off, and like I follow your training. We talked before this, and it just seemed like everything kind of came together for you on Saturday or Sunday. Sorry, would you agree with that?
I would say, yeah, I think I was actually a little bit shocked during the race of just how good I felt and how everything came together. Like, of course, we talked before this race. I was confident in my training. I felt really good going into that, but there's always that degree of like uncertainty entering into a race. You really never know what's going to happen. And I just remember thinking in the middle of the race, just like, wow, this is happening. I feel good. I feel like strong out there. And it wasn't like that the entire race, of course, but yeah, it's just was an amazing feeling everything come together.
It was crazy. It was so much fun to follow along. I mean, from what I could see from the commentators, like from the commentator booth and from like the live stream that I could see, you were never not like in contact. I don't know if you would agree with that. It seemed like you were pretty much in contact with the leaders or in the lead kind of back and forth throughout the entire race.
Yeah, so that was a really cool experience. That wasn't originally my plan going into the race. It was just one of those things of, like I said, I was just kind of surprised. Like I felt really good and decided to roll with it. I was originally planning on kind of being a little further back on that first climb, but I went out with the leaders and just felt very, very comfortable and very good in that position. So I decided to pivot from the plan and just go with it. And kind of the entire time was just like, if someone took the lead, I would just sit off of them, or I would take the lead in times that I felt that I should, or if I was just hitting a flow. And so yeah, I was always up there, and that was a lot of fun.
One of the things that was really interesting to me, because I've always known you obviously to be like really complete. Like you're a very good climber. Obviously you're a very good descender. Would you agree that your descending has gotten better? Because I heard a couple compliments from a couple different folks like, damn, dude, Mason was so hard to keep up with your catch on the descent. Like, would you agree that your descending has just really come a long way?
Oh, 100%. So when I did this, I think like this was actually a really cool reflection point on that for me, because I did this race, and it wasn't the exact same course, but similar, almost the exact same descent, I think, from like 2 years ago when they hosted nationals. And I remember doing that race and I could not stay on my feet. I was slipping, I was falling the entire time. I think I lost just, I don't know, maybe like 10 places every time we went down like the descent, and then I'd have to catch up. And so this race was kind of a surprise for me that I was able to keep up on the descents, and not just keep up, but like put time on other people. So that was a really big kind of progression point that I noticed.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like I said, a lot of compliments from your peers. And I said it in the group, like we were obviously in the live stream, we're talking about it, and we were going through results and things like that. And I was like, that's not the same Mason from 2023. That's a different Mason right there. So yeah, I'm happy with that prediction. I'm glad like you were able to just put it all together. Let me ask you this. So from what we could see in the live stream, we kind of lost contact with you guys, and we were more following the front of the women's race, maybe kind of in that second lap. We didn't really see you through the glades. We just saw kind of maybe just before the finish line, we saw David, yourself, maybe Cam, and I think Taylor, right, all come down very close. How was that? Like, was that a lot of back and forth? Like, was Norris like commandingly in the lead? Like, were you trying to get him, or were you trying to hold your spot? Like, what were you thinking at that point?
Yeah, so the end of the race was so exciting. Like for me as a competitor, and I do wish like more of it got caught on footage because a lot of the race went down actually on the ascent, on that first ascent, especially when we were back on that more technical section, which of course you can't really film because we're just out in the middle of the woods and can't get a camera back there. But it was really interesting. So we Taylor and I entered into that wooded section first on the ascent, and we were moving along. It felt like we were kind of by ourselves. At some point, I heard footsteps behind us, so I thought, "Oh, we need to get going." And so I actually tried taking the lead from Taylor, and that was actually a very bad mistake because I ended up like taking it and just I was closer to red line than I thought. And this was the only like mistake I felt I made in the race was trying to take it from him because he was so good at climbing right there. And so I took it for, I don't know, maybe a minute. And then he just dropped me.
Oh wow.
And that was like just blew by me. And I was kind of redlining trying to catch. And that's when David passed me. And so we entered out like outside of the woods, and I thought I had been dropped a lot. And it's so dense, like I couldn't see anyone. I'm just running for my life there. When we pop out of the woods, I see that they're not too far away from me. Taylor's still in the lead, and David's coming up. He's starting to like reel him in, but they're not too far away from me. So I'm like, okay, I'm still in this race. I'm still doing this. And also in the back of my head, I know that there's guys like Dan and Andy also who are just such good descenders. So I was like, okay, those two guys are probably coming for me. And I like Cam as well. I knew like he would be hammering that. And so we get to the like downhill, and I can see them ahead, and I can see David starting to catch up to Taylor. And I think he actually made his pass in the glades on that downhill, really technical, really rooty, really muddy section. I think that's where David made his move. And but I couldn't really see much of that because I was so focused on just staying on my feet in that section that I
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
really seeing what they were doing until we popped out of the glades. And I think, yes, David was in the front. I saw Taylor. And at this point, I was like, okay, I want to catch them, but my calves are starting to cramp. And I'm like, okay, do I throw in a surge to try to catch them and risk like cramping and maybe lose my spot? Or do I risk it and try to like move up position? I was kind of toying that in my head. And actually what ended up happening was right at the bottom of the hill, one of my one of my friends just started screaming for me, just absolutely screaming. And then also I think someone made a mistake and thought Taylor was Dan
Yeah.
at some point. So people were shouting Dan. So I thought Dan was behind me
Oh
coming in
man.
hot. And so I'm like, oh man, I have to get going. And so I threw in a surge there. And that's when I ended up passing Taylor. David's out in front. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, cool. And we get to the like little flat section. And at that point, I was still running out all out because I still thought like Dan was coming in hot. And of course, like Taylor at any point could come back. And so I was going out all out, but David was so far away that I didn't have enough real estate. I didn't have enough gears to catch him. And so it was just at that point, just celebrating making the team and just like going through the line there.
Wow. Dude, thanks for painting that picture. Holy moly. Like that's so
It was
crazy.
so fun.
Like I feel like all right, next time around, like I feel like we need cameras in the woods like capturing this so we can make like real solid content from it, just because like it would have been so cool to have like been able to not just commentate that but to be able to convey that story. That's so crazy.
Yeah, no. And I I'm assuming you're going to be interviewing some of the other guys as well,
Yeah,
because I'd
yeah,
love to hear their stories as well. I
yeah.
know like one piece, I don't know if it's been mentioned yet, but David at some point lost his shoe.
He
Like
told me
his
this
shoe
morning.
fell off.
So
Yeah, and he had
crazy.
to put it back on mid race, and he still won. It was just such a wild, like that's the other thing about this, right? Like there was so much mud on the course because on Saturday it had just dumped rain all day. I've been living out in Colorado and I haven't seen that so much rain since like I moved like out here. And so that was kind of shocking. But like you would take steps and your foot would just disappear underneath mud. It would just
Oh
be
man.
gone. And so the entire race was just chaos. And it made for very exciting, very dynamic racing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the course was crazy. Did you happen like I seem like I mean I watched everybody fall. Did you fall at all or
You know what's funny is I fell on the uphill.
okay.
Like on that second lap, like the second climb, I think it's because everyone had come through and it was just on grass. That was a muddy mess. And I just like going straight up, I just slipped out and just like fell down. And that's where I fell. So that was the one point that I like had a fall. I stumbled a few times and I did run into a tree pretty badly back
Jesus.
in the woods on again on the uphill. I don't know what I'm doing on uphills. Maybe I'm just like so in like the zone and in the hole that I'm just not paying attention. And downhills I'm locked in and actually paying attention. But luckily I didn't have too many falls like going down.
Jesus, man. What a crazy course. I mean, I feel like it lived up to that East Coast hype for sure. No
Oh
doubt about
yeah,
it.
absolutely. That was an absolutely wild. And I do think like that was one of the things that helped me going into this race. I do have a background in East Coast running, like living in Syracuse for 3 years and like training, racing a lot out there, doing races in New Hampshire and Vermont. So that was definitely a big help there.
Yeah, no, definitely. Was there anything from like was anybody else a surprise? Like obviously you were locked in, you're running your race, it's your day. But like did Norris surprise you? Or did anybody or like Taylor for instance? Like I think a lot of people didn't think Taylor would be that far up front. And I think that kind of surprised a lot of folks too.
Yeah, I it was weird going into this race because you look at that starting list and there were 10 guys I was concerned about. And so like Taylor and David were on that list, so but I didn't know who to focus on, right? Like I didn't know who to focus on. I didn't know how they were going to be showing up. I didn't know if they were going to be dealing with injuries. I didn't know how they would do on like East Coast trails because a lot of these guys I haven't seen how they've performed in those conditions. And so there was so much uncertainty. So I knew that like going into this race, and I said it on like this and in our pre-race that like I could see myself winning. I could also see myself completely off the podium. And I just think that was the caliber of the athlete. So I think I was a little surprised. Again, with just how many like competitive people were in the race. I think I was expecting different people. Again, I was always worried about Andy and Dan catching me on the downhills, and again, they had amazing downhills. And so those were people that I was really thinking about. But again, like it was just so competitive that any person I saw up with me, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Of course they can be up here, and of course they're competitive with me. I need to like watch out for these people.
Do you feel now that like this confirms obviously all the work you've been putting in? Do you feel like because I feel like you've reached a different level. You're at like a completely different level, like world class now. Like, would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I again like the thing that I took away from this race is just, again, I felt very strong and very comfortable out there. Outside of that like point that I just talked about
Yeah.
of like being in the woods and getting dropped hard. But I think that just speaks to the caliber of athlete that um, Taylor and David are as well. But again, I feel very strong, very confident, and yeah, I do think I'm at this world caliber level. And the really exciting thing for me also is like how close David, Taylor, and I all were right at the end.
Oh yeah.
And like Cam as well. that's the team we're sending to Worlds. And that's such a tight spread on such a difficult course.
Yeah.
And that gets me so excited for like the team and how we're going to like perform at Worlds. Like we're coming in with one of course I'm biased because I'm on the team, but I think we're coming in for one of like the most like competitive US men's teams. And I'm just so excited to be a part of that and excited to see what we're going to be able to do on that world stage.
It's cool, right? Like you guys are going to compete for medals, in my opinion. And you have, and like, just because you, like, for instance, like, and there's a lot of experience there. Like, you were on the Chiang Mai team. You got Cam, who's literally races internationally all the time.
Yeah.
David Norris was almost an Olympian. Like, he was right there. And Taylor's kind of new. So he's in the process of learning and kind of figuring it out. But there's a lot more experience on this team that we're going to be sending than I think people realize. Dude, you guys are going to be competing for medals. There's no doubt in my mind.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like even like another thing I've been thinking about with Cam and David, I haven't been following their Stravas too closely, but they're ski guys.
Yeah.
They're coming off of ski seasons. Think about how good they're going to be at the end of the summer coming into fall. And Taylor too, like you mentioned, he's new. He's already performed at like what I would consider a world stage at Broken Arrow, but he's also like he's starting up a new training. He's also getting coached by David Roach, my same coach, and he's starting off like some newer training style stuff. And I think he's going to improve a lot, even like throughout the summer as well.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm really excited for all of that to kind of come together in the fall.
There's a lot of momentum. We're months out. Like, there's time to prepare. Yeah, I agree. And you know, you're so like spot on. Like, Cam usually peaks around the time the rut is. That's the same. That's around the time that Worlds is going to be. So, it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I'm so happy. Like, I think the team, and like like you said, like there's 10 guys that could have been selected for this that will go compete for, like, that would have gone to compete for medals. So, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, like, if you even more evidence for how strong the team we have here is like the people who didn't get picked, right? Like, that is such, like, if you took out the top four and sent the next top four, the US would still have an amazingly strong team.
Yep.
Like, that is just crazy. And it's so cool seeing the sport like come to this point and just seeing like this depth of field. And it's the same on the women's side as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, like that field was the exact same like depth and like crazy. And I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what they can do as well.
Dude, the women, I mean, like, there was no surprises really. Like, I kind of figured the ones that were up front, like Allie and, Anna, Lauren, like there's no surprise there. Right. So like that team going, that's another one. Like, I would be surprised if they didn't get some sort of medal, right? Like, that's like,
oh, I 100% bet them on gold. Like, I don't want to put pressure on them.
I'm gonna throw that one out there, yeah.
But like, I don't want to put pressure on them. I think all of them would be expecting that though. Like, all of them have been like Allie and Grayson, like have been world champions, and like they're all in contention for that sort of like world champion sort of thing. And so I am really excited to see what they can do.
Super cool. How are you feeling? Are you going to go race out GoPro games this weekend?
Yes. I'm kind of debating that one still.
Yeah.
So yesterday I tried to do a run and I made it like a few feet out from my apartment and decided that I was going to cut my run like by more than an and a half. And that was just a true shuffle. And I ended up just biking. Today, I think like I felt a lot better. I think yesterday's run helped break up the soreness. But I think it's still going to be a game time decision. I'll definitely be at the race and I might run it as a workout, or I might race it if we'll just see how I'm feeling. Kind of how I'm at this point is I don't want to take any risks.
Yeah, I agree.
coming off of a race like this, and again, now I'm thinking in terms of training through end of September. Like end of September is like the end goal. And so now's not the time to really do anything dangerous. So I think it's a bit of a coin flip on whether or not I'm going to be racing or just out there for fun.
Cool. Cool. And what's the plan for Broken Arrow? Do you think you're still going to go out there or?
Yes, I'm 100% going out. At this point, I've decided I'm no longer going to be doing the ascent.
Okay.
So I talked about it with my coach David, and this isn't to bash on vertical races. If you like vertical races, do them. They're awesome. They do not personally bring me joy. Like, I do not love them. I mostly signed up for it because I wanted to make the world's team, and I'm good at them. I know I can perform well at them. They're just not my favorite thing. And so I I signed up with the intention of if I didn't make the classic team, then I would go and try to do that one. Um, but it's just not something that I personally want to do. And I think I'd rather leave that spot open for, or like, I wouldn't want to do it at Worlds either. I would just want to focus on the classic while I'm out there. And so I will be at Broken Arrow doing the 23K though.
Perfect. Perfect. And I think that's that's a good sweet spot. Not too long, nice and fast. Like it's a fun race. And I think that suits you well. Like, especially after last year, like how you ended the season, both, like Headlands, Mammoth, like everything kind of clicked really well. So it's going to be fun to see you compete there. And I think it's a smart decision just because let me ask you this. I don't know if you know this because this is a guess for me. Is it 2 spots for the vertical or is it 4? I think it's 2.
I want to say it was 4, but I wasn't paying that close attention because again, I really wanted to go all in on classic, and I didn't want to be at a point where I was in the middle of the classic race and say, oh well, I can just wait until Broken Arrow. So yeah. I wasn't even like thinking about it at all in terms of that. Like I was thinking about the race generally, but that's mostly because I have some athletes racing it. And so I was thinking about the course and how I wanted to like prepare them for that. But I wasn't thinking about like the direct spots.
No, I think it's a good idea. Yeah, it makes total sense. Let me ask you this. So when you speak of athletes, you speak about coaching, like the experiment worked, dude. Like that was something we talked about before this. Like that, there's got to be some joy and elation there, and like just it like reinforcement,
Oh my gosh, yeah. So much joy, so much like reinforcement of like the training theory. Again, like a lot went into this race. We talked a lot about the biking I did in the pre-race. I think that has made a big impact in my climbing ability. And then also people were asking me after the race, like, what do I feel like made the difference? Like what caused that shift? Like you said, and I would agree, like I'm racing at a different level than I was in the past. And I think there's a lot of factors. There's so many things that go into this. But I think the biking has really helped. I think back to like the marathon training that I did. I think even after doing Ventura, like last year, I saw a big jump in my climbing ability and my ability to climb up hills and just recover on downhills, and like just threshold stuff really improved through that like marathon road build. And then also there's been I've focused a lot on my downhill training. Like we were talking about earlier, I've really made progress there. And that's been something that I've also been thinking a lot about. And that's something I work with my athletes a lot on is like, okay, how do we get better at these technical descents? How do we run faster on them? So that's been another experiment itself. And so there's all these elements that I saw helping and like kind of clicking, and it's like, okay, that worked. That's awesome. And so that was really gratifying and really exciting.
Super cool, man. Super cool. All right. So you're on Team USA. Things are rolling now. after Broken Arrow, what are you thinking? You're going to take a little downtime? You're going to race anything short, or just kind of start preparing for Worlds?
Uh, I've got a packed schedule. I love racing. I think I also race into I race into fitness really well. Like the more races I get, and of course being careful of injury, but I'm targeting a lot of the Cirque Series races this year. I think I just have so much fun at those races. I love them. They're fun, they're enjoyable. But I also think they're amazing training. Also, like one of the reasons why I do think I've gotten better at downhills is doing those races.
Yeah.
Like going up to those races and like bombing down those descents, and like they have technical bits, they have like flatter, faster bits. And I think that really helped me last year, just like practicing. And so I'll definitely be doing those. And I have a few more kind of picked out throughout the summer, but I'll definitely be getting a decent bit of racing in before Worlds.
I saw you on the start list for Kendall. Are you going to make that happen this year? That's a sweet race, man.
Yes, I am coming out for that one. I've never done it. I'm really excited. I haven't really explored that part of Colorado, so that'll be exciting to check out. And there's always good competition at that, so I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Excited to see you there. All right, man. Well, I think we're almost at time. Mason, I can't like sing your praises enough, dude. It's been so fun on this ride, kind of seeing us talk before and then see you go and get the spot. So congratulations, and I'm so excited for you to go to Worlds and live that dream, dude. This is exciting.
Thank you so much. Thanks again for having me on, and thank you for the support. I'm super excited, super stoked to be going to Worlds as well.
Awesome, buddy. Appreciate it. Listen up, guys. The Steep Stuff podcast is brought to you by Ultimate Direction USA. Guys, I am so excited. UD just dropped their new Race Vest 6-liter and Ultra Vest 12-liter in 2 beautiful aesthetic colors. You guys got to check these new vests out. They're dynamic in ways like that you just have never seen from an Ultimate Direction vest. Very stretchy, lots of storage, beautiful aesthetic colorways coming to you in a new, like a white and blue and an onyx and green. Just absolutely beautiful vests. I think these ones are just like some of the best products we've ever dropped, and I'm so excited for you guys to try them out. Hop on ultimatedirection.com and use code SteepStuffPod. Again, that's SteepStuffPod for 25% off your new vest. I mean, they're already affordably priced, but 25% off is just going to make it so much more affordable for folks in an already increasingly expensive trail running environment. So hop on ultimatedirection.com, get yourself a new vest, a pack, or any hydration solution, and let me know what you guys think.